Magswitch, that's one of the top 10 new products at World Ag Expo. First off, congratulations.
Thank you. We're absolutely thrilled to have the honor.
Let's walk through a little bit of what Magswitch is all about. Can you share with us, like for instance, you were just showing us this. What's this all about?
I sure can. Using the mag squares because they're a great representation of our new technology. It is patented. There's nobody else in the world who can do it. We figured out a way to make two magnets work together. Either they cancel each other out or they make each other stronger. When you turn them on, all you're doing is turning the top magnet on top of the bottom. That's it. There's no batteries, no electricity. They should never wear out. They should never lose their power. When you do that, the entire housing becomes a magnet. And then when you turn them back off, the entire housing is no longer a magnet. Literally, the magnets become as if there were batteries powering the housing. So I can hold on three sides. Anytime you see that a big arch, you're going to have holding power. And hold extremely strongly to the bottom, but also very powerfully to the sides. And I can do things for the guy who's doing welding, for the guy who's doing repairs. He can now work by himself when it used to take 2 or 3 people to hold the metal still while he gets a chance to weld it.
How much kind of weight are we talking holding for something like that size?
This is a great example. It's one of our most popular products. We call it the 50 millimeter square because the magnets are 50 millimeters in diameter. This will hold about 600 pounds of breakaway strength. It's got phenomenal power. It's got a bigger brother. That's something over here, about 1,100 pounds of holding force. And yes, we have heavy lifting magnets as well.
Can you show us an example of the bigger brother?
I sure can. So we call this 70 millimeter square. When you're working by yourself, you're working with heavy pieces of steel. You'll put it in place on one of the pieces that's not moving. Simply turn the magnet on. Now bring your heavy piece of steel in place, like this giant 6x6. Hold it right where it needs to go. It'll hold it there forever while you get a chance to get everything aligned, everything adjusted, give it a couple tack welds, move the magnet away, finish the job. This is 2 people on a straight edge holding it in place while you get a chance to weld it. I'm just letting you do it by yourself, and it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get the job done. It'll still be there holding it when you get back to it.
How about pricing? Can you share with us that?
Our 70 millimeters is about $300, about $299. It's one of our most powerful magnets that's not a heavy lifter. Something like this 50 millimeter, one of our most popular, looking at about $125. Other products that take advantage of those 50 millimeter square, something like this boom wrangle, where both sides actually pivot independently. This is something that gives people nightmares when they're welding, is how to hold a piece of metal, especially if it's not at a perfect 90. And again, just adjust each side, tighten up the pivots, they'll stay there forever. Something like this, about $299.
Are we looking at more than these 2 models, or are there others?
We sure do. We do have some smaller models for small tabletop work, also very popular with the woodworking community. While we don't really work on wood as magnets, we do work on the cast iron table saw and the other machinery that they use. We do have some larger ones available as well, such as the heavy lifters. We also have entire other families of products. You're looking right here in front of my squares at one of them. It's a welding ground clamp. Again, a major problem when you're working with larger piece of metal is where to put an alligator clamp. Try putting an alligator clamp on a piece of tubing, you know what I mean, rather quickly. It's a miserable process to do. Simply take our ground clamp, hook it up with a copper lug, put it in place on a piece of tubing or on flat stock, turn it on, you're grounded, start welding. So much faster, so much easier. As long as it's good bare metal to metal contact, they should do well for you for years.
I understand you can pick up something with 1,000 pounds here. Maybe we should go over and take a look at this.
Yeah, this is one of our more popular items. This is also sold for the infrastructure community, the guys who are lifting valve boxes out of the ground. They're lifting heavy plate steel coming on pallets. They may be just cleaning up the debris around their machinery. We simply took a couple different sizes from magnets and put them on a stick. In this case, it's about 1,100 pound breakaway magnet. You simply put it in place in your piece of metal. Just use a little foot pad here to help me. Turn it on. Even if it's a two-handed job, it's not going to break away. You're going to have a secure way of holding it. If you ever had to bend down and take your fingers and try and get underneath these pieces of metal, again, a miserable process. I'll just turn the magnet on, lift it up by myself. Much easier, much safer.
All right, Ted, anything else you can show us?
Well, the ground clamps, of course. We have some hooks. The hooks are just very, very handy devices for safety. Couple different sizes of them, such as this little 30 millimeter version. It's got a bigger brother as well. You'll just put the hook on the side of a piece of metal when you're working, hold your lights, your lines, your hoses, your meters, your equipment. It just makes it much easier when you're working by yourself, your tools, even hold small nuts, bolts, and parts on the sides of the magnet. Heavy lifters like this family we have back here. This one about 3,000 pounds of breakaway. Very, very lightweight, very compact, and also exceptionally efficient on thinner metals. That's something that's very difficult for magnets to do, is hold very powerfully on thin metals. We're the most effective in the world on thinner metals as well. That's really about the family.